The one project,
didn't sell.
the issue with the one is threefold. One is that it actually is losing money, and so that there's really no profits to be made in because at the end of the day, they've taken on too much debt.
The one
The only
did
one
not sell. It did not sell. They could not sell it. There were no buyers.
as a developer to another developer, who would buy that?
Well, apparently there were 54 groups that signed NDAs, TK, and that is an obvious indication of interest.
A bunch of
in
people
buying
who
something for
couldn't
1.2
afford
billion.
it. Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure I was one of them.
Yeah. Are you guys sure you can afford to do this deal, Jimmy?
I got a big client. Just send me all the docs. I just want to look at it. I want to make sure my client's really high profile. They don't want anyone to know who they are. I promise to keep the information to myself as I read it before I go to bed tonight, planning on not buying anything.
When I was younger and I used to call, and obviously I wasn't the buyer, and they would ask me, like, do you have a buyer? You know what my play was? And this is a good play for anybody out there that wants a tip. Okay. If you're out there hustling, right, and somebody says, do you have a buyer? You have to get insulted. Okay. You have to be like, how dare you? Of course what are you, crazy? Why would I call you if I didn't have a buyer? Like, what's wrong with you?
You know how many buyers I have?
Oh my God. And then they'd be like, oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I got to figure out which buyer this is even for. Do you know the list of buyers that I got?
Right. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, oh my God, who the fuck's going to buy this thing?
Nobody's got more buyers than me.
This is stupid. But anyways, that's the trick, TK. You gotta throw them off. You gotta throw them off. What am I talking about, TK? I have absolutely
you're talking about the one, right? So I mean, the one project, the issue with the one is threefold. One is that it actually is losing money, and so that there's really no profits to be made in because at the end of the day, they've taken on too much debt. Okay. Yes. Two is there's a whole bunch of construction issues with finishing the floors that they haven't done, going through all the different things that they have. And the third one is all the legal ramifications of all the purchasers who have already bought and the public image and everything else like that. And the amount of lawsuits that are probably going to be brought on by this, by a bunch of people who are upset because of the unit that they did purchase for way too much money, right?
So way too much money then, but now the new guy will want to charge probably like $800 a foot more.
Sure, but they got to collect the money from the people that they do want to close with, which is a whole nother story. So you're just basically signing up to be in a bunch of lawsuits with probably people who can afford good lawyers.
Probably people that can afford good lawyers, for sure.
Probably people who are good lawyers.
People that have already had their deposits sitting there for God knows how bloody long waiting for this. And that's even if it's 20%, that's a giant deposit, right?
It's one of those situations, like I had a receivership deal that was done on a property where, there was just a lot of stigma with the property. There was just so many issues with this property that it was really, really hard to find buyers. So it wasn't just like a pricing thing. It was just like the units were designed bad, the construction quality was poor, the reputation of the building and what was going to happen after, like who's going to really be responsible for all the different things that need to happen after the closing, after the units are sold. A lot of issues.
Well, but what was happening was, they had the bankruptcy trustee, they had hired SkyGrid, a giant, well-known construction company to continue the construction, and it's been chugging away, and it's like getting up there. And now what they decided to do, so apparently they got 10 bids on the property, but 9 of them were just to take over the construction, like project management, finish the sales off, like just finish off the project as like a gun for hire, right? Yeah. Not as part of it. Maybe there's some way that they're tied into it, but it was 10 different proposals. And so when they went through it, they decided Tridel was the best way to get this thing finished.
Obviously.
Well, I mean, Tridel is not known as a high-end luxury developer.
But they're the most reliable condo developer in the city.
Well, not back in the 80s when they went completely upside down.
Doesn't matter. At the moment, reputation is the most reliable.
Not a bad choice.
Company.
But what's happened is basically the lenders are now the developers, right? Right. And now they've hired the best guy willing to do this fucked up job. And now it's like, now you got to kick out the new project manager, bring in the new guys again, continue the construction, start selling the units that are unsold.
Yep.
I mean, is this a good environment to start doing that in now? Maybe it's
nope.
starting to
but
be.
You make the best of what you can. So anytime, like
lenders
Warren
must
Buffett
be
said, the
lending more
buildings
money
will stay,
too.
but the owners will change.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen here. Is these owners, some of the owners who bought pre-construction, some of those owners will be the owners, and some of them won't close, and they'll, maybe some of them got it in a corporation name, some of them put it in their kid's name. There's a whole bunch of reasons why someone won't close. And those units will still get built, and some other guy will buy it, and they'll find a buyer at the right price.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you got anything from one of these clips. And if you want to see some more,
press something on the screen here. Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.